Hey y'all, I just got home from church and I'm feeling particularly Jesus-y today, so I want to talk about something that's not very Jesus-y. Republican politicians, especially their recent focus on Islam and Muslims who are allegedly taking over America. If you're like me and you pay attention to the Tennessee governor's race, because I'm from Tennessee, you'd probably seen Marsha Blackburn and Monty Fritz talking about Muslims and how they're evil and taking over America. If you pay attention to what's going on down in Texas, you've probably seen Ken Paxton saying the same things. Of course, none of this is true. Islam is not evil. Muslims are not taking over America. And I've got the facts to prove it. And I'm going to right over here, and I'm going to film up on the screen because I believe in citing my sources because my information and opinions are based on facts. So, most immigrants in the United States are Christian. That's 70%. Only 7% of immigrants to the United States are Muslim. Another fun fact, Muslims only make up about 1% of the U.S. population, whereas Christians make up 62%. So I also want to talk about why Christianity and Islam aren't actually that different. So the first fun fact is that Islam is centered around the worship of Allah, whereas Christianity is circled around the worship of God. Allah and God are the same person. Allah just means God when translated into Arabic. Another fun fact, both Christianity and Islam are descended from the same father, Abraham. Father Abraham. Abraham's first son, Ishmael, is the father of the Arabs. And in about 700 years after Christianity is founded, Islam emerges on the Arabian Peninsula amongst the Arabs with the Prophet Muhammad. Now, on the other side of that branch, Isaac, Abraham's second son, is the father of the Israelites, and his descendants are Jews and Christians. So because we are descended from the same forefather, all three of those religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, are called Abrahamic religions. Here's another fun fact. Muslims believe in Jesus. And Jesus is worshipped, similar to the Jews, as a great prophet of God. Now, he's not the Son of God. We don't worship the same principles and teachings, whereas we believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Muslims do not. They believe he is a great prophet. But Muslims also, they see the same prophets we do. Moses, Abraham. Many of those central figures are the same. So my point being here is these two religions aren't the same. And I'm not going to go into the theology where there are many similarities and many differences, because I am not a theologian. I am a practicing Christian, and I don't know that much about Islam, and I don't pretend to. But here's the thing. When we throw around these accusations, when we throw around this hatred for somebody who is different, it gets really easy to brand Muslims as different. Certainly, they are different. They worship a different religion. And that's okay. In fact, our founding fathers were prolific writers, and they wrote a lot about their belief in the freedom of religion that is in the United States. One of the things they wrote is that you are free to worship any religion. It's in the First Amendment, but it's also in many of their personal writings. In fact, Thomas Jefferson would write that you would be free to practice Islam in the United States just as you were free to practice Christianity. Which means we can't go around vilifying the Muslims and trying to attack their religion and ban it to practice or hurt their practice of that religion, because that is unconstitutional and that goes against our very values as Americans. Now, there's also the religious argument for why we shouldn't attack Muslims, especially if you're a Christian like me. The Bible tells us not to judge others. Jesus tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves and to be kind to all. And that means all. It means everybody. When we are commanded to love our neighbor as ourselves, we are commanded to love everyone. And that does not mean the people who are like us. It means the people who are different than us. We should not judge. We should love and treat every person, Muslim, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, with kindness and love as Jesus would. And we should never judge, lest we be judged for our actions. There is only one person who can judge all of us, and that is God, and he makes his judgments far, far in the future. So right now in the present, make haste to be kind and be swift to love.